Family and friends are remembering an FBI agent from the Atlanta field office who died from medical complications related to his response to the 9/11 tragedy. David LaValle became the special agent in charge at the Atlanta field office in 2016. He was a Marine, an officer, an FBI agent for 2 decades. 17 years ago, LaValle was a first responder in New York City when the terrorists attacked the World Trade Center. More than a decade later, he was diagnosed with cancer as a result of the materials that he inhaled. At his funeral today, family and friends described him as a man of courage, of loyalty, and of duty who dedicated his life to serving his country.
He was a true first responder. Dave would run toward the danger when everyone else was running away.
Dave cultivated excellence in everyone around him, leading by example, inspiring his team to bring their best selves to the fight every day.
There is no doubt in my mind, David LaValle was chosen by God before he even came into this world to make a difference and an impact on those that he touched.
Agent LaValle will be buried at the Quantico National Cemetery in Virginia.